So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our exciting online event, The Role of L&D in Driving Innovation and Creativity in Organizations. My name is Kiran Sharma, and I am delighted to be your host today. In today's fast evolving landscape, the need for continuous innovation and creative problem solving has never been more critical. Learning and development plays a pivotal role in shaping a workforce that not only adapts to change but drives it, unlocking new avenues for growth and resilience. This event aims to bring together thought leaders like you to explore how L&D can foster a culture of innovation, equip teams with the skills to embrace creative thinking, and implement strategies that align with organizational goals for sustained success. So, ladies and gentlemen, a small announcement before I start introducing the panel. One of our panelists, Supriya Thankappan, would not be joining us today due to some personal reasons. However, we do have an exciting lineup of panel members, so let's get introduced. Are you all ready? So, our moderator would be Chetan Gaur, who's Associate Director, Learning and Development, Mercer Consulting India Private Limited. He's an innovative L&D leader with over 15 years of experience in transforming organizational capabilities through strategic and impactful learning initiatives. As a driving force behind Mercer's L&D success, he fosters a culture of continuous learning and measurable performance improvement. With expertise in strategic learning leadership, coaching, organizational and development, and global project management, Chetan has spearheaded award winning programs and implemented inclusive practices such as integrating sign language into learning programs. His certifications in DEIB, project management, and design thinking further reflect his commitment to excellence and inclusivity. Chetan is also dedicated to CSR, contributing to initiatives like Mercer Cares and Women at Mercer. Please join me in welcoming Chetan God. Our first speaker today is Ujjal Sen Gupta, Head of HR Regional Contact Center, Reliance Jio. Ujjal Sen Gupta is a thought leader with deep expertise in the HR and L&D domains. With nearly 25 years of professional experience, he has made significant contributions across diverse industries, including ITES, telecom, BFSI, hospitality, construction, and education. Currently, he heads the HR function for the Customer Support Division in the West region at Reliance Jio Infocom Limited. Throughout his career, Ujjal has been actively involved in various facets of HR such as talent management, diversity and inclusion, learning and development, performance management, and HR operations. An alumnus of XLRI Jamshedpur, he is passionate about evolving fields of artificial intelligence and social CRM and is a strong advocate for promoting workplace diversity. He is currently also a PhD research scholar at JBIMS Mumbai University. Please join me in welcoming Ujjal Sen Gupta. Our second speaker for today's event is Lorraine Lorenco. Lorraine is the global lead for learning and organizational development at Terrapay with over 15 years of expertise in crafting impactful learning strategies and frameworks that boost employee performance. With a strong background in the fintech and BFSI sectors, Lauren has championed diversity and inclusion, learning and development, and corporate training. Her skills span stakeholder management, instructional design, and behavioral training. And she holds certification as a Six Sigma Yellow Belt as well. Customer experience training specialist, coaching mastery specialist, and international certified insurance professional. A career highlight for Lorraine was training a group of visually impaired professionals, guiding them to a new level of success. Please join me in welcoming Lorraine Lawrence. Our third speaker today is Paul D'Souza, Director, Human Resources at Opus Technologies. Paul is an HR professional with 17 plus years of experience, having exposure to handling HR business partner role, compensation benefits, policies and processes, global mobility, training and development, and HR operations function. Please join me in welcoming Paul D'Souza. So, we have an incredible session ahead, having such a wonderful lineup of speakers and moderator filled with innovative ideas and forward-thinking discussions. So without further ado, I will hand it over to our moderator, Chetan Gaur, to kick off the session. Great to have you all online. Let's enjoy this enlightening event together. Over to you, Chetan.
Thank you, Kiran, and thank you all for being here today. So, without further ado, let's dive into the first section. What we have. So, the first section for us is understanding the role of L&D in innovation. So, with this, I'll start off with Ujjwal. Ujjwal, this is to you. How do you define the role of L&D in fostering a culture of innovation within your organization?
Everyone. It's a wonderful and a privilege to be out here. Uh, in fact, role of L&D, I'll be speaking in perspective of my organization, how we are. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be speaking in perspective of my organization, how it has impacted the business in terms of innovation, in terms of improving the business metrics. Okay. First and foremost is in the L&D space, what we do is the skill enhancement. And when I say skill enhancement, we all know that skill is the new currency. Okay. And with skill, we can all improve our brands, respective brands. Right? We are all respective brands, which we can only develop if we acquire new skills. And that is what we L&D folks focus on, that each and every employee gains some new skills. Second is we also encourage the research and development on everyday basis. We consider ourselves as a digital, not a telecom organization. We consider ourselves as a digital organization and ensure that we make an impact to the business. We encourage R&D, research and development on a each and every day basis, that we consider ourselves as a startup. Geo we consider as a startup, and every day we ensure that we do something new. And thirdly, we ensure that there is a cross research, cross department connect which happens. There's a continuous learning culture which is there. We ensure that there is a leadership development which happens. We focus on the leadership development because leaders are the ones who drive innovation, who drives culture. So ensure that the leaders are equipped, right, with the new age leadership skills, which aligns with the organization goals. Because I personally believe the way L&D can make an impact to the business metrics and innovation, no other department can do so. Yeah, that's my submission.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ujjwal. With this, we can move to Lauren. And again, Lauren, the same question to you.
Thank you, Chetan.
How can L&D department
Yeah.
shift the company culture towards one that embraces experimentation and innovation?
Thank you so much, Chetan, and thank you. I think it was Kiran, right, who introduced us earlier. Thank you so much, Kiran. Lovely to meet you, Paul, Ujjwal, and Chetan, as well as Shiju. All right, so I'm Lorraine, and the question posed to me was about how to, go ahead and shift your company culture towards experimentation and innovation. The first thing I'd like to highlight is it all depends on the growth mindset that you have, right? So if we all have fixed mindsets and we are not ready to go ahead and incorporate new ideas, it would definitely not work. So the first thing that we need to keep in mind is let's go ahead and gear and steer our company towards having a growth mindset ideology wherein they can welcome new ideas, welcome new innovative practices. And yes, even if you fail, that's still fine because that's a stepping stone to success, right? Sometimes what happens is we fear experimenting because we think, what if we fail? But there have been so many examples in the past, like Edison, if he did not experiment, what would have not happened today, right? So all our Nobel laureates. So looking at them, we can take them as examples. I'd like to also speak on, or rather draw one point which Ujjwal also spoke on cross-functional collaborations. Have many ideation generation workshops, right? Have innovation workshops, run creativity workshops, because it's not only the leaders always that might give you the most novel ideas. Your idea might just come from the person who's sitting at the reception and might tell you something which might just click and might work well tomorrow. So listen to everyone. Communication is the key. And if we are all ready to experiment and not be scared of failure, then I'm sure we can definitely shift our, company's motor towards experimentation and innovative learning. That's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. That was very informative. I really like the Edison example. Thank you. Okay, with this, we'll move to Paul. Paul, how do you encourage employees to bring innovative ideas for L&D in their day-to-day routine roles and responsibilities?
Thanks, Chetan. While we spoke, and Kiran and Chetan spoke of two very, very big words, right? And these are the words I get scared of times, and a lot of people get scared of is strategy and innovation, right? And typically, whenever I think of these words, I try and break them down. Okay. And that's where how you deal with these two words, right? Because whenever you ask a junior person or any other person what strategy is, what innovation is, they will talk about Edison and they will talk about, I don't know, some great guy. That's not strategy or that's not innovation. All of it can come into your day-to-day work. And it will be able to come into your day-to-day work only if you break it down to things that you do in your day-to-day work, right? And likewise, I'll also try and state a quote that I learned through different forums. I mean, there is one very nice quote is you you can sometimes you need to bring the horse to the well to drink water, right? Most of us would have heard it, but still you cannot guarantee that the horse will drink water, right? And then there is further thing that I learned to this quote is then maybe you need to put some salt on the horse's tongue so that the horse feels thirsty and drinks the water, right? And that's what we are trying to do at Opus is bringing it small. How do I maximize learning in the company? How do I drive the culture of innovation in the company? And it's not easy because, and this is my belief, learning is not top of our agenda. Learning is not on top of anybody's agenda, especially when they have gained experience. They say, "यार learning ठीक है, काम करो, let's work." Learning, if we get time, we'll do it. Else, customer is always on my back. So where do I learn, right? So what we sought out to do this year is maximizing learning. And while we're talking about maximizing learning, how do we get learning into nearly everything that we do? Okay, and we do have we're happy to have our LinkedIn Learning licenses for all our employees, which is a very nice tool because it helps a lot of self-paced learning. Is how in every function that I do is I use that tool. Okay, be it my DI initiatives, be it my wellness campaigns, be it my delivery excellence campaign. How do I maximize my LinkedIn Learning tool over there? Like even small things like, hey, Gen AI, right? Everybody spoke about generative AI. And speaking about generative AI, do we all know what Gen AI is? And when I spoke to my leaders who know a bit about Gen AI, and I would say bit, because they also say we know a bit about it, it says, don't jump to Gen AI. Understand what ML is, understand what AI is, and then talk about Gen AI. So that's what we did at our organization. We got through basics of what ML is, AI is, and Gen AI is. And then we took it up to other levels with the delivery functions as well. So everybody in the company got these auto courses on AI, ML. So they understood what it is and they can try and implement it into their day-to-day working. You can only implement it if you understand what it is. And all of us want to be experts, me included, but we are not. So we always need to go back to basics and maximize culture of learning. So that's what we intend to do. Break it down smaller pieces, start learning, start getting on the tool, take the flavor of it, and hopefully you'll like doing it. It's like reading a book, right? Sorry, I'll just take another 30 seconds. If you have never read a book in your life, you'll never pick up a book. So unless you pick up a book and start reading one book and potentially like it, you'll not get the habit of reading. So that's what we are looking at doing, how we try and get L&D and innovation into our day-to-day responsibilities by maximizing learning. Thank you, Chetan.
Thank you, Paul. That was very informative. And I really like the way you mentioned about leveraging LinkedIn learning licenses for different streams or DEI or other elements. This is amazing. Thank you. Okay, with this, now considering we are done with the first set of questions in the section, now we're moving to the next section, which is about aligning L&D with the organizational goals. Okay, I'm going to start with Ujjwal. Ujjwal, this is to you. Hope you're there. Okay, so the question to you is, how do you
I
ensure?
purposefully switched off my video for the poor network.
Absolutely, that's okay. How do you ensure the L&D initiatives reflect and support organization's long-term vision for innovation?
It's a very nice question, because what we seek is the impact to the long-term vision of the organization. First and foremost, the L&D goals needs to align with the organizational goals. That is very, very important that we all need to understand that how it is aligning to the organizational vision and the goals, right? And accordingly, we need to ensure that we do a skill gap analysis, that to measure that which are the skills and competencies that is missing, which is missing in the workforce, and which we need to bridge the gap. And that's how we can align to the bigger picture, the bigger goal of the organization, the long-term goal of the organization, and define the L&D goals according to the organizational goals. Second is, uh, we need to tailor as per the our customers, because the employees are our customers, and the each employee has a different need, right? Different skill gap. So our L&D focus needs to be based on the customer needs of the business goals. Okay. The third most important area is that we need to ensure that we implement technology, right? It is because with this Gen Z employees, we all know that AI is going to make a big term impact in every space. So how we are utilizing, how we are leveraging HR analytics and technology in understanding the HR skill gaps, the employee skill gaps, that is very, very important. We need to make best use of the technology, because with LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, learning on the go, today's workforce has a different uh, demand altogether. Demand is they're more flexible. They want learning on the go. I want to develop a new skill. I will do it as per my own time, as per my own sweet will, right? So we need to, be accordingly. The L&D space also needs to be very, very flexible in terms of implementing such policies, implementing and adapting such as per the changing customer demand. Next is the evaluation. The impact evaluation has to be done. That how effective was my training, and that can only happen by pulse surveys, taking feedback time to time. Because at the end of the day, it is the leadership will expect is what the ROI, monitoring and evaluating the impact. Because at the end of the day, what the promoters, the leadership will expect is what is the ROI of the training, right? So it is very important that we measure the impact of such initiative uh, in terms of whether the business metrics have turned greener, whether the happiness index has been measured, measure the impact. To give an example, we in HR space we did a gamification exercise called Happiness League, and we did this happiness league just in the lines of your IPL tournament, right? So it was so impactful that because adult learning is all about video nuggets, adult learning is all about gamification. How you are creating a sense of competition among the peer level, how you are gamifying the entire engagement and L&D activity and creating some points so that they feel rewarded, they feel accomplished, and in turn, it gives the business results. Yeah, Chetan, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Ujjwal. I think a few takeaways from you, what I can, summarize before we move to next. Learning on the go, keeping ourselves updated. Adult learning principles help us, to drive the whole piece together. And, when we talk about adaptive learning, which is very effective, capsule learning for people, because Gen Zs, they don't focus on the traditional way of learning. So that's very important and good points covered. Thank you, Ujjwal. With this, my next question
Thanks,
is for
Chetan.
Paul. Well, what skills do you prioritize in learning programs to support innovative and creative mindset among employees?
So let me take one word that Ujjwal used, and the word was ROI, right? And every person who is in L&D, I mean, the finance guy will ask them the same question. What's your ROI? Right? You're going to take a crore from me, 10 lakhs from me, 2 lakhs from me, what's the ROI? And when we look at a self-paced learning system that we have, we felt the biggest ROI that we can get is utilization of the system, right? The biggest ROI. And then everything follows after that, right? And when we look at this question that when you have, what are your skills to support an innovative and creative mindset? We again went back to our basics saying, what do you mean by innovation? What do you mean by creativity? Okay. And then we asked ourselves this question is saying, hey, this is maybe one of the competencies that we have for each of our individuals. And it is, right? Innovation, creativity are a competencies. So we kind of clubbed both of these things together, ROI and competency. And we said, okay, for each of our roles, we have 8 to 10 competencies defined at different levels. I mean, competencies are similar, just the level differs. And I believe that's similar nearly everywhere, right? And so while we did this, we said, how can we take both of it together? And we looked at our competencies, 8, 10. We looked at a platform that we have. Okay, LinkedIn Learning also. Sorry, I'll use LinkedIn Learning because that's what we kept using to try to maximize it as one of the areas. And we went through those partners and said, hey, give me all your training programs which are linked to these competencies. And we took time to identify the best programs that met those competencies for the different roles. And we then put these two programs across the year. And we then, on a quarterly basis, so if you're going to tell people, hey, do these 15 trainings, they're not going to do. But if you put it into a program, 2 or 3 hours of learning per quarter, start the process, get them on the platform, that's what we did this year. And this helped us in both the ways. A, it helped maximize our use of the platform. B, it also made them understand what do you mean by your competencies, and one of it was innovation and creativity and accountability and responsibility and customer focus and all those things. So at that level, what is the expectation of from you as an individual for innovation? Unless you know the expectation, you'll always talk about innovation like, sorry, going back to Loring's example, Edison, right? How do I become a Edison? The question is not how do you become a Edison. The question is how you can become a Paul within your own function and get some new creativity and innovation year on year. That's what we tried to do this year. And basically, whenever we come in this forum, at least I come in a forum like this, I try to, as a participant, I always try and take 1 or 2 tidbits back, saying to for me to implementing my organization. That's what we're trying to do. At least I'm trying to do, saying, hey, rather than talking about the topic, I mean, how do we implement it at our organization and go ahead and do it over there, right? Another one small thing that we say is innovation is a mindset also, is a thought process also. It's how you believe what your company is also. So we do various other forums as well. One of it is we do our annual Ideathon event as well over here. So we are an IT company. People like to be innovative. People like to remember events and saying, yes, this company promotes innovation as well. So how do we get those Ideathon events? And those Ideathon events, how do they translate into the problems, quotient or ideas from a hackathon event as well? So we try and join the dots right across. So I take care of HR. So while I take care of HR, how do I take care of L&D and just get in the entire circle back. Overall, trying to create a more learning, more innovative culture, or at least making people believe, yes, we want to be in that direction. Can I really change the process of a person? The answer is no. But by our nuggets, our small behaviors, our timely interventions, we can try and change the understanding of it. So yes, those are the skills that we look at prioritizing to come into be having a very innovative and creative culture at Opus. Yes, Chetan.
Thank you, Paul. I think I really like the way you just explained the whole piece. Plus, the way taking out of learning some maybe one or two takeaways and how we can leverage in our routine like a practices or talking to each other in the learning hub to understand what you guys are doing versus what I can try in my organization. So that's a learning hub community, and I think some most of us are try to be part of those LinkedIn learning communities which are there available. Thanks for that one. Okay, Lauren, how do you tailor L&D programs to meet specific innovation needs across the different departments or different roles?
So, thanks again, Chetan, for this question. And I would not want to piggyback on what Ujjal and Paul has already highlighted, because they've already highlighted the basics of what we need to do or what we need to start with in order to move forward, right? So what we do here at Therapy is that we look at the different demographics that we have in the company. So you have a Gen Z, you have a wide variety of people who's a Gen Z, you have a wide variety of people who is a millennial, etc., etc. So how do we tailor their learning requirements or their learning needs in a way or in a fashion that, yes, it will meet all their learning requirements? And at the same time, we also try to ensure that our learning modules are measured in such a way that they take care of all types of learning styles. So some people could be visual learners, some people could be kinesthetic, some people could be auditory. And what we try to envisage here is we try to have a lot of guided projects, because that's something that makes a person learn even faster. So if you have an innovation lab, you can have different departments, coming in together, collaborating together, talking about different ideas. And then you never know that this one idea can become something even better. It could automate a certain process, and they learn on the go. Like what Paul said, right? Learning on the go is something that we look at. And we have also tied up with Coursera. So Coursera is something wherein we look at different skill levels. We look at your proficiency in different skill levels. We can key in your competencies based on the different departments. And every quarter, we can tell you, you know what, this is where you are right now. You probably were a basic, now you're a conversant, now you become an intermediate, now you become a proficient person. So it's giving back to the learner. It's not always about what you're doing for the learner. It's also about getting to know, is the learner really enjoying what he or she is doing? Are they taking it back? Are they doing something impactful with that? So that is something that we try to drive as well. Having innovation labs, getting people to think, brainstorming sessions. I mean, most of the time we forget that, just talking, just speaking, having lots of brainstorming sessions. And yes, we might not get the right answer the first time, right? It always takes many trials and errors. But in the end, it's all about the destination. It's all about the journey. And if you can use what you have learned, make it impactful, that is the biggest ROI that I could say that we give back to the company.
Thank you, Lauren. I think more about the way you just mentioned, it's all about making it more experiential for people so that when I move away from the class, I have certain takeaways with me rather, making certain notes and then after the class, it's done, tick in the box, my hours completed. So it happens in real time. And I think you have rightly talked about those things, auditory, visionary, and all those elements, the way should approach when you talk about L&D innovation labs. Thank you for that. Okay. Next, let's explore how organizations can blend traditional and modern approaches in their L&D strategies to drive innovation. Okay, it's a blend. So now we'll start off with Paul. Paul, how does your approach to innovation focused L&D differ from the traditional approach methods?
So let me start with it. Your traditional methods of learning or training will never go away. Okay, you will always be there, always. Though you may have Coursera's and LinkedIn Learnings and Udemy and everything, there are certain areas of learning which never goes away, right? And in fact, we are doing a very nice program this year. In fact, when we started L&D journey last year, we got our basics right. This year we said we'll do role-wise learning. As we said, we got these competencies and we give it for our initial roles. For our season managers, we came up with a year-long program, right? And we are an IT company. IT company is billing, right? We really can't do away with a lot of billing. So I can't put them in a classroom for days together. So while I came with a year-long program, we also said, hey, this team, I mean, again, it built up from our competencies. What are competencies of my senior manager and directors, right? And based on these competencies, what are the most relevant competencies, right? And we divided that into three segments of learning. First and foremost is your core competencies. We said we'll do classroom learning. That's where your traditional learning comes into. And we go to a vendor and saying, hey, can you give me a trainer and help train my people on this? Right. So we looked at your core competencies over there, which are very nice, and we took them through 7 different or 8 different days of classroom learning in alternate months. Uh, that is easy part. And then what we said is this other competencies which are important but not, I mean, we can't really put people in a classroom for 20 days, right? How do we blend that with e-learning modules or e-learning courses? So there is a gap, right? So every 15 days or 20 days you have a classroom, then you have e-learning modules, and then you have classrooms. So that keeps you occupied right throughout this long journey, else you forget everything. And the third element of it is there are certain of our leaders who are also experts in these areas. How do we get our leadership speak sessions and all coming through? So your traditional and innovative and newer focused learning is always a blended learning. It can't be one way fits all, right? So that's what a very nice program that we did, where we married all different types of learning, or we believe we married it, and it's going on pretty nicely. While we do that, uh, we do also various different learning programs across the organization. Okay, because you can think of innovation and new areas only when you speak about it. Okay, and when you hear about it, just what Loring was saying, hey, speak. If you speak, ideas will come across. And we do various other learning programs which are very open forums. We do a very nice session called Tech Thursdays. So every alternate Thursday, we'll have a speaker having a open forum on Teams, inviting everybody for 1 hour on some new topic in the industry. It can be just a new topic or topic people want to know or want to listen and things and all of that. And you can chime in, right? And it builds curiosity, it builds learning. Likewise, we are a very domain centric company, right? We work only in the payments domain. So a lot of domain learnings, project orientations, tech Thursdays, this keeps happening. So it's like I heard again, how can we promote a lot of invisible learning? Okay, on the go learning. And then you always have these mobile apps. I practice, I have my LinkedIn mobile app. Most of my learning happens when I drive to work. And they're fantastic. Right, I sit rather than listening to music, I on my LinkedIn Learning app and I listen to it. And most of our learnings, I don't need to see the speaker on screen speaking. I just need to hear the speaker. So all these small ways of learning or integrated ways of learning is what we try to do at Opus, right? And
Thank you,
that's what
Paul.
it is, Chetak.
Thank you, Paul. I think this is like a need of an hour for everybody when we talk about learning, and whether irrespective of the learner side versus the trainer side. When we talk about all these, as you just mentioned about it, picking up those things, and traditional definitely won't be going anywhere for sure. Domain, which is the base for any damn thing, and we really need that. If we don't build core there, we won't be able to succeed in a longer run. So thank you for that one. Okay, now Ujjwal, the question is, what aspects of traditional learning approaches still hold a value in fostering creativity and innovation?
Absolutely, Chetan. The traditional learning still holds good in terms of innovation. When I say traditional learning per se, group discussion. Okay, uh, the 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 most traditional learning is the classroom learning. What Paul mentioned right now, that 30% in classroom learning gets retained after the workshop. It's only 30% that takes away and 70% goes off. Right? It is proven that we take 30% and 70% is what drains out. Having said that, still, when I say tradition, like I currently I'm doing my PhD, there is a chapter called literature review, where we had to understand what my predecessors had done a research and where is the gap, right, in terms of DNI, my research topic. So until unless a person does a literature review, he or she cannot innovate something new, right? So literature review, discussion with peers in the classroom is the best way of learning. अरे बताना ये कैसे हो सकता है, ये solve कैसे करूं, right? So it is the friends who are going to guide you and make you, learn more effectively than a teacher, right? So peer level learning, group discussion, project, right? You're thrown into a project, focus group discussions that do this project, so that once we are thrown into the swimming pool, we will learn automatically to swim, right? So traditional ways, apart from the digital age learning, the traditional ways of project-based learning, classroom learning, focus group discussion, peer level learning, right? This still holds good in terms of innovating something new. That's my submission.
Thank you, Ujjwal. Quite informative. And I am aligned on what you just mentioned about those elements like a peer learning buddy program to support people there, because that's the base. And if you start with that bond initially, so that will go in a longer when it will have a different impact on people. Thank you for that. Okay, Lauren, how do you combine experiential learning with digital tools to engage employees across generations?
Yes, Chetan. So let's go back many decades, right? So when we were in school, the first thing that we would be very excited to show our parents are those little stars that we get, right? In kindergarten. Now, the same thing if you go in today's digital world is gamified and you're getting a badge on the LMS platform. So if you look at it, our digital, learning has pulled a lot of things which are there of your traditional learning. For example, sitting together in college working on projects is something that we're doing even now, but we're gamifying it in the office and we're calling it a buddy program or we're calling it a peer-to-peer program. So if you look at modern methods or modern approaches, a lot of it has been copied from our traditional methods of learning. And in the end, what I would just like to say is no matter how much you try to train a person or how much you try different type of innovative means or measures, it all depends on the individual if they want to learn or not.
That's true. Uh, Lawrence submission, I mean, and how I can put it together, because we all know moving from traditional and gradually picking up the modern technologies and adapting to those things is a way to move along. That's like a supporting element to us. But to the core, that is a key to us, right? For any single person. I know people these days, they're learning through capsule learning by modules, leveraging technologies like Degreed or leveraging LinkedIn learnings, Workday. But in a way, modularizing our content, it all drives from the traditional approach. So that's the right way to talk about it. Thank you, Lauren, for that one. Okay, finally, let's discuss how to measure the impact of L&D initiatives and adjust strategies accordingly. That's the last segment for us today. So I'm gonna start with Ujjwal here. Ujjwal, how do you refine your L&D strategy based on the evolving challenges and outcomes of innovation initiatives?
Okay, very, very, very important question, because measuring outcome and aligning with the strategy of the organization That's what the ultimate goal. The challenges will be always there, right? Because without challenges, no organization is out of any challenge. There will be always challenges, and how we are having our resilience skills, how we are overcoming those challenges and coming out. Say, for example, is the COVID is a challenge, right? COVID was a challenge, right? How we are having, how the organization is resilient and how it has overcome those challenges, and how the organization is agile, right? Agility, flexibility, all these are the skills which we look forward in an employee to overcome such challenges. Having said that, we L&D folks has to align with the business goals, right? What the business is ultimately expecting, right? Focus on the soft skills, because until and unless we focus on the behavioral aspect, we all know ASK, attitude, skill, and knowledge, right? Uh, in skills, the soft skills is very, very important, which L&D can make a difference. Uh, uh, the uh, the leadership skills, the communication skills, the team building skills, and it is really, really going to help organizations to overcome such challenges where there is a conflict, where there is a say interpersonal skills challenge, right? L&D can really make a huge difference in overcoming those challenges.
Okay, thank you, Ujjwal. And I think you rightly mentioned our as a L&D, the core is aligning with the business priorities. Business priorities becomes our learning goals. That's so true. And basis that we evolve our learning strategies for the rolling year. So thank you for that, Ujjwal. Okay, my next question is for Lauren. Lauren, how do you measure the success of L&D programs in fostering innovation and creativity?
Okay, Chetan, I'm really apologize for the previous question. There was a bit of a network lag. So what I wanted to also answer for the previous question is that gamification is key, and also everything needs to be updated at real time. Like, for example, if you're doing any kind of a gamification and you don't update real time scores, then people will definitely get bored. So that was the continuation of the previous question. With regards to the last, or the question that you have right now about measuring the success of L&D programs and fostering innovation and creativity, there is something that we do here, which is called as an innovation lab, right? You come up with new ideas, come up with something which is novel, come up with something as simple as probably just going to the website and pointing out places where we can make changes, make additions, look at our brand, look at our colors, small things, come up with something new. And then we take those ideas, we train the people in to talk to the management and tell them, these ideas have come from this particular person, so that the person gets recognized. When the person gets recognized, what happens is it drives a person to think even more, like how much more innovative I can get. Then when you see the person getting recognized, other people get also, they feel, empowered. They feel, what, why don't we think something different? Why don't we, look at something in a very different lens? Like, for example, if maybe Paul, Ujjal, Chetan, and I look at a particular object, all of us will look at it and have different perspectives, right? Not necessarily we have the same perspectives. So sometimes just looking at our drawing board, looking at what we have in front of us, and then trying to see how we can change it. Just a little tweak, that is a small tweak can make a whole lot of difference. And then measuring the impact the tweak has had in the entire organization. That is one way we measure. That is one innovative way. Another way is also measuring, the old traditional way is measure your participation rates, measuring your engagement rates, how engaged a person is in that conversation, how engaged is that person that he wants to learn more from you. Another metric of also knowing whether your learning has been an impact is if you have people coming and talking to you after the training and asking you, can you please coach me here? That is when you have made an impact. And the biggest impact is when the person you have trained has moved on and probably holds the same position as you. That is the biggest impact, right? I mean, I'm sure all of us will agree that when we train, when we teach, when we are trying to impart learning, we feel really, really honored when we see our person, the person who we have trained and made into, it's like you're grooming that person. That person has moved up. He's moved up the ladder. That is a sweet measure of success for me. So that's something, which I believe in totally.
So true, Lauren. Thank you for that. Because, and I think all of us agree to this point, whatever we do for, any role-based plan or any specific thing, the ROI, because we don't drive any dollar value for our organization. In a way, we are the cost. Straight away, we are the cost for the company. However, this is the ROI. If people are moving up the ladder, people are getting recognized out of those and making an impact. So this is something which people drive for, and this is something like a driving force for some people, though not adapted by everybody, but some people have already adapted as well. That's why they're moving that way. Like when we heard about learning on the go, continuous learning, lifelong learning, all these drive to make people move along with it and keep themselves updated. So thank you for that one. Okay.
Chetan, just an example. Sorry about that. I forgot
Go.
to mention that earlier. For example, in the previous company I'd worked at, so I did train, a batch of visually impaired, employees. And the ROI from that particular training was that next year we added double the number of, visually impaired employees to the organization, because the impact of the previous training was so great that we felt, yes, we can go ahead and we can, utilize these resources as well, and so it's all about the person at the end of it. It's all about how much you want to give. It's all about your passion, because all of that will measure in at the end. Sorry for cutting you short.
No,
Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. I think that's a good one to be added. Okay. Lastly, Paul, how do you ensure the skills and innovative thinking developed through L&D programs translate effectively into practical, like real world application within the organization?
Let me pick up 2 points of what you said. Okay, and that's very critical, right? Practical real world applications, extremely important, right? Because learning will be beneficial if they are practical and real world applications. What we do as a function is we always seek feedback and try and learn from the feedback and use that feedback to increase our programs or effectiveness the next year or the next time that we do it. Okay, feedback is always good. Feedback is always welcome because feedback helps you develop, and we believe it, and it will help us increase as a function as well. Also, what we do whenever we are going through an intervention, okay, we first look at who are the experts in these areas of whichever area that we need to work on. Through those experts, we create curated programs, maybe for different levels, maybe for a fixed group of people or whatever it may be. And we just don't go ahead and implement that. Before we implement it, we go take that program to the delivery heads where we're going to implement the program. Okay, because those are the guys who are going to tell us eventually, hey, you've created something. Is it going to be beneficial for me and my people or not? Very important to take that delivery buying, right? Because if you don't get that buying, your chances of failure is pretty high. Not 100%, but pretty high. Because that's where your customer is and taking it back to your key customer. For certain orientations which are very labor intensive, you even go down to the participants and saying, hey, this is what I want to implement. Do you think it's going to make it useful for you? Do you want to give inputs? I'm ready to change it. Though I'm taking expert advice and your leaders are bought in, do you want to change it? And taking that feedback and then implementing a program leads to practical and real world applications in most of those scenarios, right? You'll still get a small chunk of people who will say, hey, not good, but that's fine. A small chunk of people will always be there. It's the masses and the impact that you're looking at. And then this is how we make all our programs, L&D programs, flow into the work patterns per se. And that's where ultimately you will get some feedback. And through talking, through speaking, as Lorraine said, hey, I see a change in my team. Okay. And we did this programs, and one senior manager actually stood up and said, oh, I don't know what, but my team members are now speaking up in calls and saying, hey, this is possible, this is not possible, we should do this, not do this. Earlier, they were silent order takers, and I believe some of your interventions are working, and that, like, wow, that's what we wanted. And if even it changes in some part of your population, hopefully it will have a domino effect and everybody starts speaking. So that's how we build our programs through inputs, feedback, interventions from just everywhere to make it successful. Yep.
Thank you, Paul. I think most of us are doing the way that you just put it across in the way, and it's very important. Till the time we don't have such feedback, inputs from the managers, leaders, we won't be able to evolve the whole piece of it, because it's required. And people talk about NPS these days. Everybody's talking about net promoter scores. Everybody's talking about the feedback. How you making an impact? So those things all drive through such things wherein you're asking the leaders or the manager how this is making an impact to your group. So I think that's very rightly summarized. Uh, and lastly, before I hand it over to Kiran, so it's clear that L&D plays a crucial role in driving innovation and creativity within the organizations. It's just that we all of us try different ways of methods, approaches to us, and another one roadblock for some of us, maybe not for all of us, the technology evolution, leveraging AR. Right now, we're talking about that. I don't know how much we are extensively using augmented reality these days, because people are talking about it but not implementing it in a day-to-day because of the cost impact. So that's all I have. Now I thank you for your time. Thanks to all the panelists. I hand it over to Kiran back. Thank you, Kiran.
Thanks, Chetan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chetan. And thanks to all of you. It was really a wonderful session. I believe we should now open this discussion to our audience, wonderful audience who have been really patient listeners. We are open for question and answer now. So friends, please, any question to any of our panelists, please go ahead.
Till the time we have something on chat, I'm gonna put it across to all, and maybe you can share one point for all of you. What's the one tip you want to give to all of the attendees today? They can start off from now on so that they see a change in next 36 to maybe 90 days. To maybe one, anyone can start off.
Okay, my advice to all of you will be each of you is a brand, and to increase your brand visibility, you have to develop your skills. Skill is the new currency. Uh, Highlight your good things, what you have done. Highlight your achievements to the top leadership. That's how you get noticed. Somebody, one of our panel member mentioned, I think Chetan mentioned that you can bring a horse to a river, but you cannot make the horse drink, right? So there will be opportunities, there will be IJPs, there will be a lot of opportunities for growth. It is you who have to grab those opportunities and grow within the organizations. You can change jobs, right? But you cannot gather mosses. You can hop from one job to another, but you cannot gain knowledge. So more you gain knowledge, the more you are skilled, and the more you can perform better in the job. You will be more successful in life. You can make more impact to the business. That's what is expected from all of us.
It's a good one. Thank you, Ujjwal. Lauren, you want to talk about it?
So one little nugget that I would like to share with everyone is that learning is never rigid. Learning is always dynamic. Learning is always flexible. And we always need to keep a growth mindset, something that we probably would have worked with maybe a couple of years back, or maybe when I started in college, Microsoft tools just came out and we had to actually go to different places and learn about the different types of tools like an Excel or a PowerPoint and get certificates for that and be really happy when we got the certificate. Today, it's part of our day-to-day journey. So learning can never be stagnant. Learning always keeps moving, and we need to move with the times. We need to always ensure that we are learning, and we cannot tell ourselves that we are done. We have learned, we are masters of all, because we are not. We are not experts. We might be knowledgeable about something, but we definitely are not experts about everything. So always keep your mind open, always have a growth mindset, and always be ready like a sponge to learn more, And the only way you can learn more is when you remove whatever you have learned in the past and then try to incorporate new practices. That would work. So don't be stagnant with your learning. That's all.
Thank you. That's a good one.
I see a question by Raghunath, and maybe that will come with my tidbit knowledge also, what I was trying to explain. He's saying, hey, with the use of hybrid model in the name of training, we are bombarded with a lot of meetings and invitations, and focus on real requirement is a challenge. How do we address it? So as leaders, our thing is A, maximizing learning, B, making learning available to your people, your customers, that is your employees, and how can you make it available invisibly? Rather than forcing them to be in a classroom and train them, how can you make these learning opportunities available to them for them to make a choice? Okay, is this good for me? Not good for me? Do I attend it? Not attend it? Can I do it at my own pace? Can I do it while I'm taking a walk in the evening? And how do you make these learning opportunities available to them for self-paced learning? That's important. And also, how do you infuse other elements? Like, I mean, all of us have a certification and training reimbursement programs. Nobody uses it, right? It's a challenge. How do you enable that? How do you promote that? How do you speak about it? Hey, nobody's stopping you. Go ahead and do it. We will reimburse it to you. So rather than forcing trainings down to people, how can we reduce and make that blend much more with classroom versus self-based learning? That may be a key that will take care of your bombardment issues.
Just to
Okay,
add to what Paul has said,
folks,
and
what?
I completely agree to what you've said here, Paul. I think Ujjal is speaking. Over to you, Ujjal. Okay, I'll go ahead. So
No,
just
no,
to
please go ahead.
okay. So to what Ujjal has said, I mean, to what Paul has said, I completely agree to what he's saying. If you can intersperse training with projects, with assignments, with something that they can go back and they can learn from, because I mean, learning is everywhere, right? They can talk to experts, they can talk to anyone who's probably well versed in the field. And if with LinkedIn, you can also figure out who is an expert in a particular field or who is a person you can also connect with. So you learn from people, you understand what they're trying to say. You try to create assignments for your trainees or for your participants and have group assignments or group, kind of homework that would really work, because what happens if we give them too much of training or too much of GAN session, too much of bombarding of information, sometimes people will be like, God, I can't hear more of this, So how do you gamify it, make it happy, make it simplified, tell them, okay, this is an assignment. Once they complete the assignment, you give them some points. You can use challenges. That is something that we also use. Like this is from module 1 to module 5, you need to have a person who could be your leader who ensures that all the other 5 are completing it and also completing the assignment at the end of the week. It's all about how you take it up and how you move it forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Lauren. Kiran, back to you. Sorry, Ujjwal, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was in the similar lines. The most important skills. Why L&D takes a back seat at times is the selling skills. You have to have a business buying. Your business will ask you that what will be at the end of why should I keep a budget for L&D in terms of investing on new skills. What if the person leaves? So you have to be a very good orator. You have to sell dreams, right? The first and the foremost skills what you need to have is selling skills. You need to know the art of selling, right? You have to sell your product, your content. That this is the best content, that it is going to impact the business in big time. Your PAT, your EBITDA is going to change, right? So you have to give that big picture. Then only business. If business buying is there, you have done 50% of your job, right? You make a space in the boardroom. That is what expected from all of you.
Thank you, Ujjwal. Kiran, back to you.
Okay, so we have a few questions. One is from Venkat Rama Reddy. Can you please elaborate how the competency assessments assess associates? So anyone can take it up. Not very sure what this question means. Maybe how the competency assessments assess associates. Maybe
So
they.
I'll take it up, Kiran. So I'll just talk about a very simple competency that we all are aware of. It is basic communication skills, right? So you have several competency assessments, several quizzes, wherein you can grammar quizzes where you can just share it with your employees and ask them to complete the quiz. And within the end of maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you get a particular score. The following month you can have a little higher level of a proficiency for that competency. So if you have given him a basic assessment, the next month you can do a particular training and give him an intermediate one and see if there has been any change, right? So there are loads of competency assessments which are there in the market. It's up to you based on what kind of competency you're actually looking for, and is that competency married to the skill that you want to develop. So you need to do that particular training needs analysis first, and then based on that, you can take it forward.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. I hope this answer your questions, Venkat. Ujjwal, you have something to add?
Even the most important at the associate level, the question what he asked, Venkat, what he asked is at the associate level, how the competency mapping will help. See, the analytical skills, the problem solving skills at the associate level, these are the uh, competencies which is very much required in terms of at a associate level. The and what Laurel mentioned, the communication skill. These are going to really make an impact. Project based competencies. It is at an associate level. It is going to make an impact to the business. That's what I can you know evaluate to you, Venkat.
Yeah, he has agreed that yes, it is the associate level
Yeah.
competency that he is talking about. So I hope this answers your question, Venkat. And we move on to the next question that is asked by Mr. Narayan. How can we measure the ROI of the upskilling and training programs we enable? And are there plans to implement a structured framework to assess the impact on productivity, performance, and business outcomes? Any one of you, Paul, would you like to answer this?
Again, this word ROI is a very, very difficult word, right? It can be easy, it can be difficult, but let me term it as difficult. It's not easy to measure ROI, right? Especially when you're upskilling, it becomes extremely easy to measure because typically your upskilling is always related to business, either current business or future business, if you're in an IT world, right? And over there, measuring your training programs vis-a-vis your outcome, it's easy, provided you have the buying of the manager and the team member who wants to upskill. You cannot just leave it to the employee to say, hey, upskill in 2 months, come here. That's never going to happen. How you build these small interventions, tie up the requirement of the project, the employee's current level, and support it with the manager interventions. When you build these three together, will you be able to develop a nice, successful training program, which will result in your ROI and hopefully get there and get into productivity. Because nowadays, nobody, I mean, again, going back, learning is a last, is on a back burner always. You will upskill only if the project demands it. You will upskill only if you think you're getting outdated. Okay. Proactively upskilling, very few people like Ujjwal will be there, right? Going to become is a PhD scholar and wants to upskill himself into a different area. Very few people will do it on their own. But a lot of us get driven by the need of the hour. And the need of the hour is you're changing business landscape, you're changing requirement, you're changing technology. even that, people will still not upskill and saying, "Nahin, my technology will never die. I will still try and find those reducing number of jobs and I will live out my life through here." So it's very difficult, but yes, get all the right people involved, then you will get your ROI.
Thank you so much, Paul. I hope that answers the question. We have one more question coming up from A. Sai Kumar. How can AI and machine learning be integrated into L&D to promote creativity? By the way, Nileshwar Sham says ROI calculation in a tech development environment is very difficult, and we'll agree to that for sure. So anyone who can answer this question, how can AI and machine learning be integrated into L&D to promote creativity?
I would like to go ahead and also answer the previous question about the ROI, right, which Paul did speak about. Now, I'll give you an example of something that we had at TerraPay. So we had several executives or several associates or other managers who had to speak to different partners, and they were not very conversant in two different languages, that is Spanish and French. And most of the partners that we speak to are conversant or they speak only French and Spanish. So it was a little bit of a tough situation that we were in. So what we did was, and this is something which you can use, it's a very simple approach, is you talk about what the current process is right now in the business, right? What is a desired process that you're looking for? And then you try to put a mid approach into how you're going to ensure that from the current process, we at least measure up to the desired process. So the box that you're putting in the center is a different type of upskilling programs you might get them, to be part of. For example, we had an external facilitator who was a French speaking native who spoke, trained our executives. It was around a 16-week kind of a upskilling program. And the ROI that we measured after that was, is my executive able to understand what is that project all about or what is that contract all about at the end of it? And then we also have continuous learning, feedback sessions. So you don't stop when you're upskilling. You have to continue with the upskilling, because when you stop, sometimes we forget what we're learning. There has to be a continuous, like a kind of a retention program. So that would give you an impact on your productivity, your performance, and definitely your business outcomes. This is a very simple example that I wanted to bring forward. With regards to AI and machine learning to be integrated with L&D to promote creativity, it's all about which AI tool you want to use. Right now, if you talk about AI, the easiest tool that everyone talks about is ChatGPT, and I'm sure everyone uses it, right? But then when it comes to a fintech org, how much of a ChatGPT can you actually use, right? There are a lot of nitty-gritties that you have to keep in mind. So look at all the different tools, understand which tool can be something that can really work and which can help in enhancing any challenge that you're currently facing, and then see if it would work. Probably have a pilot batch, have a small set of maybe 2 or 3 people. If it works with them, then you can probably promote it to a higher or a bigger group of people, right? But it always, I would say, always start simple, start small, then take it forward. That is something which I always believe in.
Thank you, Lorraine. I hope that answers the question. Any further questions by anyone? Most welcome. And anything that any of the esteemed panel members would like to add, and maybe Chetan, if you have something that you would want to, your
Well, I
2 cents.
think quick, like just one thing, and I think we must be doing it in our routine jobs as well. And I think this is for the learners specifically. What I try to, always cascade when I have any conversation with anyone, spare 30 minutes on yourself on daily basis. This will help you keep yourself updated. This will help you understand what you're looking for, and this will give you clarity for your future perspective. That's what I feel, and that's how I keep on updating every day and try to evolve with the things, keep moving along with it. So people can do that, and if you're not doing it, you should try to the attendees, and if you can cascade this information to the trainees as well, along with the trainers. Plus, at times it happens we start off, because these days it's so easy to start off with the mobile apps on the go. You can do learn anything. Some people are not comfortable with the videos or YouTube learning and all those things, but they're more, auditory. They're very good with that piece. So they learn really well. And then they use those things, imply those things in their routine job. And I've seen leaders like doing those things. So it's amazing. So these are certain tips we can try. And this will also keep our Gen Zs engaged as well. Because when it comes to Gen Zs, we struggle there, as an L&D. We try to come up with different solutions, but in L&D world, some of our other team members might be sitting with a fixed mindset. They don't want to get themselves updated, and they struggle there. So that's the problem. So it's important to do that. So I mean, that's all I have from me. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, everyone. It was indeed a wonderful session. So thank you, Chetan, and a big, big thank you to all our speakers, Ujjal, Lorraine, Paul. Thank you for sharing your invaluable insights and expertise today. All the contributions, all the question answers, everything have been immensely impactful and relevant to the current as well as upcoming scenarios in L&D when it comes to meeting the needs of our young generational leaders, current leaders. Excellent. I mean, thank you so much. And I would also like to extend my gratitude to our audience for joining us and participating in this important discussion. All the engagement questions have really added so much to this event, and it has made it truly interactive and collaborative. So as I conclude, I hope everyone takes away new ideas and strategies and goes back highly positive about making learning even better. Thank you once again to our speakers, moderator, and all of you attended today. Stay connected, stay innovative. Have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you at our next evening. Till then, bye bye. Have a nice
Thank you,
day.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Kiran.
Bye,
Thank you,
guys. Take
Chetan.
care.